The narrative begins by telling us that piracy in the Caribbean Sea is dying, but there are still remnants considered ruthless, men shaped by the violence of the ocean and by a code of their own that defies empires. The year is 1846, and on a stormy night, under lightning that tears across the sky and winds that lash the sails, a pirate ship approaches a merchant fishing vessel and boards it quickly. One of the sailors alerts Captain Bauden to the presence of the pirates, and he urgently places the gold in his pocket, feeling the cold weight of the metal against his chest. He then orders his men to prepare for confrontation, but the pirates defeat the crew without any mercy, spreading screams and blood across the soaked deck. Amid the chaos, Captain Bauden is captured. The pirate commander Connor confronts Bauden and reveals that he has spent years searching for the gold that was stolen from him, feeding that obsession like a constant flame. Raising the bar marked with his personal seal, Connor demands to know how a simple merchant captain came into possession of it and who delivered it. At that moment, the quartermaster Lee discovers the port of origin of the vessel, Cayman Brack, an emancipated British colony. Connor reacts to the information and orders Bauden to be transferred to the pirate ship, already architecting his next steps. In Cayman Brack, the residents gather in the church, praying for the safe return of the fishermen, missing for 59 days, with tired and hopeful faces. Outside, Ursel, Bauden's wife, remains by the seaside, watching the horizon and waiting for her husband's return. Meanwhile, Elizabeth Bauden, Ursel's sister-in-law, prepares in her bedroom for the arrival of her boyfriend Weston. He enters through the window and informs her that his ship will depart the following day, asking if she has decided to run away with him far from that limited life. Elizabeth admits that she still has doubts. At that moment, Ursel opens the front gate, causing the hanging bottles to chime. Little Isaac wakes up and slowly leaves the bed, leaning on the rope stretched through the house. Ursel walks to the door and then turns to the window of Elizabeth's bedroom. As she does so, she notices that the food on the stove has been left unattended and calls for Elizabeth. She then sees her son and gently leads him back to bed. Isaac asks if the ship has returned. She answers that it has not yet, but assures him that it will return and that his father will come home. Finally, Elizabeth agrees to run away with Weston the next day and asks him to meet her first near the coast. Later, the three of them share sweets, unaware that a group of pirates is already heading toward the island. That same night, Ursel finds Isaac reading a book about pirates. The boy says that he feels something is wrong because his father promised to return before his birthday. Ursel calmly explains that the sea is unpredictable and treacherous. She then gives him a small gift left by his father in case he was delayed. Afterward, she takes a bath while remembering her husband and the simpler days they lived together. In the next room, Elizabeth writes a note announcing her departure, with trembling hands. At the same time, the pirates reach the shore and find Weston first, silencing any hope. The next morning, Elizabeth leaves the note and kisses Isaac goodbye before leaving quietly, carrying uncertain dreams with her. Sometime later, Ursel wakes to the sound of the bottles chiming, now more unsettling. Immediately alert, she goes to Elizabeth's room, but instead of her sister-in-law, she sees the pirates approaching the cabin like threatening shadows. She locks the front door and runs to wake her son. She leads Isaac to a secret passage beneath the floorboards, grabs a rifle and orders him to hide there, controlling her own fear. In position, she points the weapon at the door. Suddenly, a pirate falls, surprising her for a moment. Even so, she strikes him hard with the rifle. Another pirate runs to defend him. Soon after, Scout appears, smiling coldly as if facing a game. He asks where the money is kept. Ursel points to a portrait on the wall. Annoyed, Scout shouts that he wants to know about the gold. She insists that they have nothing. She reacts and knocks down one of the men and tries to flee, but is quickly captured by one of the strong pirates. Scout displays the gold bar before her and demands to know where the rest is. When she refuses to speak, he orders them to break her bones, preserving her face. The next morning, Connor arrives at Cayman Brack with the confidence of one who has never lost a battle. The community leader Gustav approaches with a courteous smile and asks his identity. Connor introduces himself as Captain Francisco Connor, with false formality. Meanwhile, the pirates spread across the island, searching houses and intimidating residents. On the other side, Elizabeth calls cheerfully for Weston, only to find his lifeless body lying on the ground like a dark omen of what is still to come. Moments later, Pastor Bradley spots Connor from afar and quickly calls the harbor master's attention to look ahead urgently. When the harbor master notices the pirates approaching through the rough waters, he blows a conch forcefully, alerting the residents to take refuge inside the church with reinforced doors. Gustav faces Connor without retreating and declares that he knows perfectly well who he is, a feared criminal, a brutal war dog, and wanted enemy of the British Empire. Connor responds with calculated simplicity and then calmly asks where Baden's wife is. Gustav firmly refuses to reveal any information. He then orders that they prepare the bulldog cannon in a desperate attempt to prevent the pirates' advance inland. Before they can fire, the pirates shoot first with violence, and Connor brings down Gustav without hesitation. Back at Ursel's house, the pirates tie her up and suspend her with a rope. The men pull out their gleaming knives, and one of them finds Isaac's hidden shelter beneath the boards. Gathering the last strength she has left, Ursel breaks free with fury and eliminates the two men with ruthless efficiency. Meanwhile, Connor crosses Cayman Brack with brutal precision, killing anyone who dares resist the invasion. A wounded Gustav tries one last time to activate the bulldog cannon with trembling hands, but Connor stops him before the final shot. The pirates finally reach the main coast and begin advancing inland, spreading fear. Elizabeth watches the approach from a distance and quickly hides among the buildings. Connor greets Lee and the rest of the crew with cold authority, announcing that no one will leave the island until he recovers what belongs to him by right. Gustav warns them that the Royal Navy patrols those waters constantly and adds bitterly that they know how to deal with men like them. Lee coldly replies that only the strongest pirates remain alive now. Connor then asks where the island's distress signal is located. Gustav merely laughs with contained contempt. When Connor points toward the church and orders his men to fire at it, Gustav finally yields under pressure. He reveals that the signal is at the edge of the island, atop the rocky cliff. Without hesitation, Connor executes Gustav with a devastating cannon shot. Scout approaches Connor and informs him that they momentarily subdued Ursel, but they are still searching for the missing gold. Meanwhile, back at the house, Ursel covers the bodies on the ground and reassures her son, assuring him that he does not need to be afraid. She orders Isaac to prepare a bag with enough supplies for 3 days of escape. When she goes to gather her personal belongings, Isaac notices a gold bar on the floor and discreetly picks it up without saying anything. Upon hearing a sudden noise, Ursel raises the rifle ready to shoot, only to find that it is Pastor Bradley. He asks if she is hurt and assumes the invaders are mere bounty hunters. She responds darkly that they are much worse and more cruel. She asks Bradley how many pirates entered the town. "A whole well-armed gang," he replies. It is then revealed that Bradley and Ursel were once pirates under Connor's direct command, with Ursel acting as second in command and being greatly feared. Bradley warns her that Connor is relentlessly searching for her and that innocent lives are being lost because of it. He states that only she can stop him, calling her captain with old respect. She coldly warns him never to use that forgotten title again. Isaac hands Ursel the note left by Elizabeth, in which she confesses that she ran away with Weston to start a new life far from there. The boy says he cannot find the hidden dagger. Ursel retrieves it and firmly fastens it to him. Ursel orders Bradley and Isaac to head north on the island. When they find the tree marked with the carved moon, they will also see the nearby stream. They must wait there until she and Elizabeth join them safely. Afterward, they can all proceed together to the high cliff. Meanwhile, Elizabeth runs desperately through the dense cornfields trying to flee from the pirates chasing her. Suddenly, someone grabs her from behind with force. She struggles until she realizes it is Ursel holding her. Elizabeth panics, stating that the men killed everyone without mercy. In tears, she says that Weston is dead in the field. She apologizes repeatedly, and Ursel states that they can never return home. Instead, they must head to the stream where Isaac and Bradley are waiting hidden. At the same time, the pirates loot Ursel's house in search of the hidden gold. Lee turns to Scout and frankly asks if this is what he meant when he claimed they had subdued the dangerous woman. He then orders the men to split up to search for Ursel across the island and commands that they kill anyone who is with her. In absolute silence, Connor observes the devastated house. After a thoughtful moment, he declares that Ursel has a son and that the boy limps when he walks. In the dense mangrove forest, Isaac and Bradley find the tree marked with the moon and wait by the calm stream, exactly as she instructed. A few minutes later, Ursel and Elizabeth reach the place and join them breathless. Shortly after, Connor and his men arrive at the same meeting point. At the narrow stream, Ursel quickly places Isaac and Elizabeth in a small improvised basket boat and pushes it first with determination. They hesitate, fearing the murky waters infested with alligators beneath them. Ursel crosses next with agility and urges them to run without looking back. At that instant, the pirates burst through the trees with weapons drawn. Bradley makes a firm gesture for her to leave immediately. Although she suffers internally because of it, Ursel retreats as agreed. Connor approaches Bradley and greets him by his forgotten pirate name. Bradley calmly replies that he is now a pastor and has found true peace. Connor smiles and states that a man may change his attire, but inside he always remains the same. On the other side of the stream, Ursel directs Isaac and Elizabeth to head toward the distant cliff, promising to reach them soon. She climbs a tall tree and sees Bradley surrounded. Connor demands to know where Ursel is hiding. Faced with firm refusal, he shoots Bradley without mercy. Connor then sees Ursel on the other bank. The pirates begin firing at the treetops while she moves swiftly. Connor orders that they do not kill her under any circumstances. Some pirates cross the turbulent stream, but some are pulled under by hungry alligators. The rest continue advancing, trying to capture her alive. Ursel fights with ruthless precision, taking them down one by one without hesitation. A pirate charges at Isaac and Elizabeth, but Ursel intervenes in time and kills him with a precise blow. Connor calls Ursel by her old dark nickname, the Bloody. He comments that he has heard she now has a beautiful family built and questions whether they know who she truly was in the past. He suggests that they settle it like old business partners. In immediate response, Ursel beheads one of his men and throws the head at Connor's feet. Without showing emotion, Connor proposes a direct exchange, Bawden's life for his hidden gold. He says he will meet her at the cabin at nightfall to conclude the deal. As they slowly withdraw, Elizabeth asks where they will go now. Ursel answers that they will go to the safest place on the island, far from enemy eyes. They arrive at the high cliff, and Ursel leads them to the hidden caves beneath it. She lights the dark interior by igniting a fuse, and consequently points of light flare up. She warns Elizabeth to step with extreme care, as she has spread traps throughout the strategic cave. Ursel opens a hidden compartment beneath the stone floor, and they descend into a protected secret room. Inside, Isaac and Elizabeth see the space stocked with various firearms and survival supplies. Elizabeth asks who that terrible and relentless man was. Ursel admits that his name is Connor, the same as before. He served as a colonizer for the East India Company before becoming a feared pirate on the seas. Elizabeth questions how Ursel knows him so deeply. After a long, heavy silence, Ursel confesses that she and her family were contracted workers when Connor attacked their ship years ago. He took her when she was only 12 years old. Elizabeth tries to understand how a girl could grow up aboard a cruel pirate ship. Ursel responds that she had to become someone else to survive. Elizabeth whispers Bloody Mary in astonishment. Ursel confirms with a silent gesture when asked if Bawden knew the hidden truth. Isaac observes that the gold bears carry the same mark as the one he found in the house earlier. Ursel explains that the gold bears Connor's personal mark engraved. It should have remained buried forever, although she does not know why Bawden dug it up afterward. Elizabeth asks, shaken, if Ursel is truly a criminal. Ursel holds her gaze firmly and states that this criminal is their only hope now. In the looted cabin, Scout shows disbelief that Ursel killed so many experienced men. He declares that he fears no living witch. Lee states that while he was still nursing, that woman was already true terror on the seas, commanding her own ship alongside Connor until she stabbed him, stole his gold, and vanished into the shadows. Later, Lee questions Connor whether the mission is still about the stolen gold. Connor firmly confirms that it is without wavering. Lee warns him that he cannot continue sacrificing loyal men just to satisfy his personal vengeance. Back in the damp caves, Isaac curiously handles one of the bombs until Ursel sharply orders him to go outside to explore. Elizabetha follows him worried. Ursel opens the old chest and removes her old pirate attire carefully stored. She puts it on with natural practice and fully arms herself to face Connor and the invading pirates. She then says goodbye to Isaac and Elizabeth, sternly warning them not to touch anything while she is away. Using a secret shortcut leading to the well near the destroyed cabin, Ursel returns to town determined. Meanwhile, Connor absently runs his finger over the scar left by Ursel years earlier on his body. Minutes later, he approaches the imprisoned Bauden. In a provocative and sarcastic tone, Bauden asks how many men Connor and Ursel have killed up to that bloody moment. Connor admits that she is a skilled fighter and a formidable woman. Bauden coldly asks if that is why she drove the blade into him. Connor admits that it confused him, insisting that there was a time when they were true partners in every sense. Bauden mocks him, clearly disbelieving. Surprised, Connor questions whether Ursel never revealed the truth to him. Back in the caves, Isaac and Elizabeth begin examining Ursel's belongings, letting themselves be led by restless curiosity. Meanwhile, Ursel silently observes the men spread around the cabin. Suddenly, Lee's son murmurs that he smells death in the heavy air. Then she begins taking down the pirates one by one with precision. She finally reaches Bauden and runs into his arms distressed. Desperately, she tries to free him from the tight chains. Bauden immediately asks about Isaac and Elizabeth. Ursel assures that both are safe. Then Bauden confesses that he took the gold to seek help for their son, to pay for treatment that might allow Isaac to walk again. Ursel's anger slowly dissipates. She says she understands his decision. Outside, a pirate whistles the agreed signal, but none respond to the call. Lee orders the men to spread out and find Ursel quickly. Inside, Bauden says that Connor has the key to the chains. He discreetly asks about her past with Connor of old. Ursel replies that everything she did at that time was only to survive. Bauden says that it changes nothing between the two of them. She gently replies that her life changed for the better the day she truly met him. They hear footsteps approaching the heavy door. Ursel slides a knife to Bauden's belt and says she will make the risky exchange. Moments later, Ursel finds herself surrounded outside the cabin. Calmly, she greets Lee with a steady gaze. Lee proudly announces that he is now the official quartermaster. Ursel says she always knew he would rise in the cruel hierarchy. A pirate advances, and Ursel eliminates him without hesitation. She warns the others to stay back, or she will detonate every bomb planted there. Connor exits the house and asks with a cold smile whether she missed him in his absence. She coldly asks if he wants the stolen gold. He silently nods. Ursel turns the well crank, and with the creak of tense ropes, the chest of gold rises from the dark depths. In direct exchange, Connor frees Bauden from the chains. Then Connor turns to Ursel, saying they still have old unfinished business, her past betrayal. Ursel replies that she only took what was due by justice. Connor recalls that when he first found her, she was a frightened girl destined for a life of servitude in a distant English brothel. He claims he saved her, made her powerful, and in return she stabbed him in the ribs and stole his precious gold. Ursel calmly apologizes and says she aimed for his heart. Suddenly, Bauden lunges at Connor with the hidden knife. At the same time, Ursel triggers explosives while Lee shouts for the men to secure the gold quickly. Ursel fights Lee in a brutal clash of steel and clenched fists. In the fierce fight, she sees Bauden losing ground to cruel Connor. Desperate, she shouts that she surrenders and begs Connor to stop immediately. Connor ignores the plea and drives the sword between Bodden's ribs. Ursel screams as Bodden dies slowly. Connor slowly approaches with a dark gaze. She retreats, grabs a fallen sword, but he quickly disarms her with force. He demands to know why she betrayed him in the past. Through tears, she asks why he could not simply take the gold and leave forever. Connor replies that the gold is for the loyal crew, but what he truly wants is the reward for her wanted head. Then she triggers another detonator connected to the hidden chest. The explosion tears through the open clearing, and Ursel somehow survives the debris. Back in the caves, Elizabeth pieces together the truth from old letters kept. Bodden was once a simple common sailor. They met years earlier in Cayman Brack, when Ursel lived hidden after stealing Connor's gold. Elizabeth also discovers that Ursel is not her real name. The true name is foreign, and she has difficulty pronouncing it correctly. Wounded and exhausted, Ursel limps toward the hidden caves. Meanwhile, Lee is consumed by intense rage. He blames Connor's obsession with that woman for his son's death. He tells Connor that now they have lost both the gold and the promised reward. Openly defying him, Lee orders the men to gather their things and leave the island immediately. Connor responds without hesitation. He shoots Lee and kills him without remorse. Turning to the remaining crew, Connor declares that the quartermaster failed to see the true value of legendary Bloody Mary. He speaks about the golden age of piracy slowly dying, how they once ruled the vast seas, stained waves red for powerful kings, built colonies and lived as their own free masters, only to now be hunted like common criminals. Then he presents a decree issued by 3 rival empires, promising lifetime pardon to whoever captures Bloody Mary alive. He says that through her they will recover their lost freedom. With that, the men erupt in enthusiastic applause. Later, Scout informs Connor about a hidden passage beneath the old well, suggesting it may have been her escape route. In the dark caves, Elizabeth carefully cleans and bandages Ursel's painful wound. With a trembling voice, Ursel says that Bodden is dead forever. Elizabeth then reveals what she discovered, that Ursel is not her real name. She gently states that Connor seems to have taken everything from her, even her deep identity. Then, with firm determination, Elizabeth declares that the time has come to reclaim everything lost. Ursel agrees, warning that the pirates will soon reach the hidden caves. They must resist until the coming dawn, and must light the signal at sunrise so that the British Navy will see the smoke and follow it there quickly. Acting with strategic speed, Elizabeth and the others prepare traps throughout the extensive cave, intending to eliminate as many armed invaders as possible. Meanwhile, Connor and his crew move through the secret passage beneath the old well. They notice blood on the hanging vine and conclude that Ursel is inside the hidden interior. Ursel tells Isaac and Elizabeth that if anything happens to her unexpectedly, they must take the boat and sail to the distant larger island. She then locks the heavy inner door and positions herself for the final confrontation. The pirates begin infiltrating the silent caves. One of them turns the old winch mechanism and is immediately shot down by a precise shot. The others locate Ursel's position and open continuous fire. As they advance cautiously, Elizabeth activates one of the traps, killing several men with sudden devastating shots. Ursel continues firing with tireless ferocity. Connor returns fire with determination, but ends up without available ammunition. When everything becomes strangely silent around them, Elizabeth advances with extreme caution, only to be surprised by treacherous Scout. Isaac intervenes bravely to protect her. Elizabeth orders him to flee quickly, then fights while Scout physically overpowers her. Despite the intense violence of the confrontation, she manages to activate another hidden trap. Rising with effort, she tears Scout's chain away and declares that she never truly belonged to him. In another part of the cave, Ursel eliminates the remaining pirates without mercy. Outside the cave, Elizabeth notices that Isaac managed to push the boat into the open sea. He shouts that Ursel lit the high signal, but unknown to them, it was Connor who cleverly did so. He tells Ursel that he lit the signal so that the British Navy would see the thick smoke and understand that the island sheltered a notorious criminal, and that his brave crew died trying to bring her to honored justice. The two begin a brutal and relentless duel under the cloudy sky. Connor demands immediate surrender. She firmly refuses and the fight continues. At the height of the intense combat, Elizabeth fires at the enemy Connor. When he falters for a brief moment, Ursel seizes the chance, wields a sharp sword and drives it deeply into him. As he falls to the ground, he whispers, "My Mary," in a weak voice before collapsing lifeless. Elizabeth runs to Ursel and wraps her in a tight embrace. Finally, Ursel reveals that her true name is Miam, Ancient. On the open sea, Isaac finds gold aboard between the wooden planks, valuable metal that he will use to fund his treatment, a gift from his father and his mother.